is that when you ask people for feedback, they are more than willing to provide it. In this particular case, when you ask people who live in neighborhoods close to the Oregon State University campus, we're dealing with the legitimate growth issues. The university has grown, the student population is growing, and those students have a tendency, when they can't find or don't choose to live on campus, places to live elsewhere. And so what winds up happening is the impacts of a thriving, growing, international institution is that you'll have people dealing with people and their behaviors. And that's what we've learned a lot about at the Neighborhood Livability Work Group. The public has come out on a regular basis and shared their realities in living close to fraternities, in living in neighborhoods where students have now rented homes and they've become their neighbors. The Neighborhood Livability Work Group focused primarily on those issues that deal specifically with communication with students. I think very early on, one of the things that we identified and recognized was a challenge is that one of the most important pieces of resolving issues with student behavior is getting students themselves involved in these discussions. And slowly over time, more and more of the student population and student leadership at Oregon State has gotten involved. Take place. We weren't using inflammatory words anymore. We weren't pointing the finger near as much. We were actually listening to each other, which was very, very important. And in that process itself, we were able to identify a number of the areas that you see on the screen behind me. The creation and the distribution of the campus living guide. It's a real simple stuff that universities all across the nation use in conjunction with their cities. It's information for students. Information of all kinds. Talks about garbage, talks about where the courthouse is, the phone number to the municipal court, but it also gets into the specific details more about what communities expect of their residents. And that's really important to me, to focus on that one dynamic with this group of people. And that is that students become our citizens. They become our neighbors. And I'm not here to suggest that some of them don't behave very well, because I know that fact that, a lot of them are challenged from time to time. But I think we have a tendency to paint with a very broad brush. And I think that, I don't know percentage-wise, but I'm just going to say more students than not are doing all the right things on a regular basis.
As process has gone forward, has anything really surprised you in terms of an issue coming up or burbling up from the streets that you said, boy, we didn't really think about that going into this process? I'd be curious if anything has kind of surprised you, an issue that you didn't really think about as you guys got rolling.
Well, for my part, having moved here in October of 2011 as the new city manager, I had no idea there were that many deep-seated issues between neighbors and students, to be honest. And I was a bit surprised as I met more and more people at how much consternation and frustration and anxiety that all of this this whole issue raised, and this sense that when the collaboration started, oh, we've done this before and nothing's happened. It was almost like we've tried this before, and depending on who the university president is, he's going to do what he wants, and it doesn't go anywhere. And so I was surprised by that, but not a bit surprised, having had, I may actually have the record for the number of meetings with Ed Ray as a city manager.